Record low interest rates, shelter in place, quarantine, historic lows, seller's market. We're all confused. Are you? I'm hearing questions from people all over Jacksonville, in fact, all over the country. So I'm here today at Homebridge Financial Services to talk to Jamie Zeitz about what's going on. If anyone knows, it's him. Come on inside. Hey, Jamie, thank you so much for having us here today.
Thank you, Katharine.
Jamie, I brag to everybody about you. He is the great mortgage expert. He closed a VA loan in less than a month during a global pandemic. So when I needed answers, Jamie was the one I came to. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? How did you become the great mortgage expert?
Well, I don't know becoming the great mortgage expert. I think really it's just it's over time that you get better and better at what you do. And I think the big thing is, like you said, well, we can do something like we did recently and make somebody's dreams come true in such a short amount of time based on some pressure. It certainly pays off for that.
The big question I have, I'm sure everyone out here has as well, is what is happening? We know that you don't have a crystal ball, but we've got a crazy climate happening right now.
Sure.
With pandemic, social distancing, the economy. What do you think is coming down the way?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is, where do you put your focus? I think if we all put our focus on the national media and where people are focusing on some of the negative or less positive items, that's where your focus goes. And the reality is while there are a lot of challenges for a lot of people, some more than others, it's been a really different time for the world in general and the economies, but we know that it's going to be okay. We know that there's still plenty of opportunity right now for a lot of people who are in the housing market, which means you have to just work from where you are today. We are definitely in a historically low rate environment. Mortgage rates, without getting too deep in the minutia of it, are different than they have ever been based on the crazy bond market, and that's what's really turned things upside down. But in the end, the consumer is actually right now winning, because the consumer still has the chance for these great low rates. But you have to look at the positive side that says our rates are historically low. The housing market still has inventory. And while there's some challenges in the economy, it's still a great time if you are one that needs to be in the housing market.
Okay, so I have a question on that one. You're talking about the historically low rates that are out there, and everyone's hearing about them. What kind of rates are we talking about, and how do you qualify for them?
Well, I mean, that's a loaded question, because there's 27 factors that go into when you price out somebody's interest rate, so you really can't give a blanket answer. But when you start talking about 3s and 4s and interest rates, and the 25, 30-year average is near 7% if you really look at history. Probably almost half of our buyers, right, are millennials. That's just part of the segment. Millennials have never heard of interest rates outside the 3s and 4s, because it's been such a window of that. You can't look back and say, well, it was this 2 months ago. You're just beating yourself up over something you can't control. So you have to look at today and say, I still have this amazing opportunity to purchase a home at a low rate, which gives me lower payments, more buying ability, right, and less interest paid over time. So I tell people to stop having neighbor envy, stop worrying about what your neighbor's rate was or somebody else told you they got, and focus on yourself. And let's find out, based on your profile, where you fit and what the best we can do for you. Whether you're ready to buy or whether you're not ready to buy, you still have to know, and you have to work on your own personal profile.
I love that. Focusing on yourself, not having neighbor envy. I'm going to borrow that, neighbor envy. So if we are going to cash in on the great rates that are happening right now, without looking at 2 months ago, what do people need to do to qualify right now?
Well, I think, again, everybody's different, right? I think you have to know where you are. It's like I tell people, if a pilot gets on a plane and they're going to go from Los Angeles to New York, they don't just get in the plane and start going. Take them there. So I can't tell you where you need to be if we don't know where you are today. And people will tell me, well, I'm going to wait 3 months till I fix my credit. Well, that's awesome, and it's very aggressive, and it's, I love where you're going with it, but how do you really know where you are from our standpoint to know what you need to do? Because you might say, I need to pay off all my debt. Well, I will give you stories where paying off your debt has hurt your credit versus paying your debt to a certain point. So I think what you have to do is get with a qualified, reputable local mortgage lender, right? Reputable and local. Because in this day and age, you need someone right there with you in the trenches, right? And then find out where you are. Because if you go to Credit Karma, what you think your scores are versus the real world and lending are not the same. Get with that local professional person that's going to help you. We're here to help you, right? We're here to help you find out where your goals are, where you want to go, how we're going to help you get there.
So right now, I know a lot of you were talking about getting a house. Everyone a few months ago was like, hey, we're going to be buying a house this year. And you may have put this on pause. And there's a lot you can be doing right now to get ready to get a house. The first step is to call me. Let's go take a look and figure out what you like and what you don't like. So when the perfect opportunity hits, you're ready. But there's other things you can be doing with your finances so that Jamie can get you the best rate possible when you're ready. Jamie, what should people be doing right now to get ready when this opens back up?
Yeah, with the end in mind, I want to purchase a home by this date. So it says, okay, I need to know where my credit is. Is my income in the way for what I'm trying to buy? Have I saved up enough money, or what do I need to do about what I need to save? It might be a great time for many people, and it really is, because the phones are ringing. But it might not be the right time for somebody else, and that's okay. And we don't want somebody to do something they're not comfortable with. So I would really say the most important thing is to find out where you are so we can give you advice on how to save your monies, what to do with your credit, where you are as far as an income standpoint. I mean, there's so many factors that go into it about type of jobs you have, how to save your money, what bills to pay off, what bills not to pay off. And sometimes people shoot themselves in the foot, in a manner of speaking, because they do something where they're doing the right things. They think they're doing what's best. It turns out that maybe it's not what's best for what they're trying to accomplish. So find out before you start.
So find out before you start. So there's a lot of people who are Googling everything. Would
Sure.
you say the first step to finding out to where to start, they can just call you, talk it through, discuss their situation?
Exactly. Since every situation is different, I mean, the Google's wonderful, right? The world is on the Google. But a lot of times we're having to undo what people are reading, because what they're reading is what others are putting out there, not necessarily what the truth is. The truth is hard to find sometimes, right? So a lot of times we're undoing what you've read and saying, okay, here's what applies to you today, your specific scenario. So we know that we're putting you specifically, your personal situation, on the right track, and not talking about everybody else or lending in general. It's not fair. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to you, the consumer at home, right? I like to tell people, I mean, this is all about you. Everybody's got their own, be who you are and understand who you are, and let's figure out the best way to work from there.
To hear that key message, the part I want to focus in on, it's very good to do your research, but then you need to find a mortgage expert who can help you and talk to you directly. And for me, I love Jamie. I highly recommend he gets a phone call. He can definitely help you with what you're doing. Jamie, what about the people who are going to be waiting? They say, you know what, I just want a little more stability. I want to wait till the pandemic and the shutdown is closed.
Sure.
When do you, as somebody who's been watching trends for years and years, feel like we're going to start coming out of this?
Well, I mean, it's a great question. It's certainly a great question, but I don't know that I have any more qualified answer than anybody else, because this is the first time we've ever seen something like this in our lifetime. So when you don't have those end result answers, all you can say is, if it's not the right time for you, then that's wait. Say that if you say, I'm thinking that it might be 3 months, 6 months, that I might be looking to purchase or refinance or sell a home, start doing your research now. When you're looking for a specific home and you're looking for that right place that's for you, just be ready, because you don't know when it's coming. And as long as you're ready, then you'll take advantage of the opportunities. If you're not ready, that's when you're going to kick yourself because you missed out, because you just didn't do your homework ahead of time.
So do your homework. That's a big one. When this is all done and we settle down, for those who want to wait, do you think there's going to be some great incentives? Do you think that there's going to be some incredible deals? Interest rates are going to go up, down? What do you think is coming down
I think the interest rate environment is going to be steady. I mean, there's a lot of back-end things that you won't know about unless you're in the industry. But overall, the interest rates aren't going to waver greatly because the economy can't sustain it right now. And they're going to do everything from a governmental standpoint to keep things in a certain level. So don't worry about rates. They're not going anywhere very far, very fast. When it comes to inventory and things in the housing market, it'll be interesting by market to see how many people have held back, how many people are ready to sell. I think you'll see more inventory come on the market from a resale standpoint, because a lot of people are going to realize that home wasn't quite as big as they thought it was, and they're ready to move. So I do believe that the market's going to be fine. I think that we're still stable in our market. People are still buying homes. The phones are ringing. There's a little bit of a pause because it's harder to do business right now, and some people are waiting to see what happens with their jobs and the economy. But for the most part, I think people still have hope, and I think we should continue to say that we have hope. You know, things are going to be okay. Things are good. Focus on the good things. Focus on the positives that have come out of this. I mean, just think about how much time you've been able to stay at home with family, right? There's plenty of positive out there. And just think about there's no traffic. It's outstanding, right?
That's the best side effect of all.
Right.
I love that you brought up employment issues. A lot of people have lost hours, they've been furloughed, they've been laid off, but more than likely their company's just going to pick them right back up again in just a few weeks. This little hiccup in your employment, what about the pre-qualification process in just a few weeks? What do you see coming? Is it going to get harder?
Well, I don't know it's going to get harder. I mean, pre-approving somebody for a home loan is based on, stability of income, continuous income, and the other parts that go with it. So for some, the job piece is a hold. But again, it's really no different than any other time. And I was on a call with some national leaders the other day. There's really nothing changed. All we're doing is verifying that people have a continuous and stable income. So if you've had a job before and you have a job again, it's going to come back to that same kind of concept. I just think that everybody's in a different boat, but I don't think we've really changed anything drastically. There's just been more spotlight on it.
So for some people, I know that this whole pandemic could not have happened in the shutdown at a worse time. They need to buy a house, they need to do it now, they have issues in their own lives that just cannot be put on hold. For those people who want to buy right now, what should they be doing with you to get ready so that we can move in the next few weeks?
Well, it comes back to let's find out where you are. Because if you need to move, then you need to at least start today. Like you can't go anywhere till you start. I always tell people, if you don't start, I can tell you nothing else. Once you start, then we can find out and hopefully put you on a fast track if you have that kind of urgency. And I think when this is all said and done, we'll see some more urgency. I think you and I agree on that. The fact that there's going to be some people who need and want to move after this. And I tell them, start preparing now, because whether it's a month from now or 6 months from now, be ready. And that way, whether you're getting your home ready to sell and checking values with Katharine and making sure you know where you are, or realizing that maybe you can't sell and there's other things you want to look into, now is the time to do all that work and be ready.
So the last question, this one is for everyone who is looking to sell their home. I know a lot of people said, I'm going to sell in the spring, and then, oh my goodness, the spring was not what we expected at all. So the question is, for those who are looking to sell right now, what advice do you have to help them get their house where it's ready for buyers and lenders to accept the loans?
Well, I think it goes back to the same concept, right? Is that if you're you need to sell or you want to sell, and maybe you're on hold because of everything going on, then just get yourself prepared. Whether it's decluttering your home and getting it freshened up so it shows better as a listing, whether it's doing your homework with Katharine, a real estate agent, to find out the values and where you might be from selling if it's what you're looking for. Or maybe it's realizing that maybe it's not time to move, but maybe we want to do something with the home you have now. It's all about preparing and using this time where you're kind of almost forced to be inside and you can't do a whole lot. So when you decide the time is right to sell, you're not starting from square one, and that you know your values, you know what's going on, you know your plan, you've decluttered the home, you've freshened it up, you've followed your advice of real estate agents and others to be ready to sell at the maximum opportunity. Because I believe there's a lot of people at home, and I mean you might be included, that didn't realize where they were in their home. They've been home more than they've ever been there, and more people in their home. And they really looked across that kitchen table and said, good Lord, this home is not as big as I thought it was. Or I wish we had upgraded the kitchen when we purchased it, or I wish we had gone ahead and built out the master bathroom. Or, whoa, we should have put that pool in when we bought the home. All these things that are coming to people's minds because they're feeling the pressure of being in that home so much. It is a good opportunity right now to look into a chance to possibly refinance and we call renovate or update your home, include those updates in your home loan at these low rates.
Well, I think that has been incredibly helpful. I know I have learned a lot. I thank Jamie so much for joining us today. Please feel free in the comments down below, go ahead and give Jamie our thanks because we really appreciate him. Okay. If you have anything that you have more questions on, call, text, message either Jamie or myself. Our number is on the screen, and let us know how we can help. Thanks, guys. Bye.